Welcome back to the Vandy Sports Podcast, live from Hawkins Field. That's Joey Dwyer. I'm Billy Derrick. Vanderbilt drops Game 2 to Mississippi State 7-4 after winning Game 1 yesterday 4-0. And all of a sudden, Joey, we've got a huge rubber match tomorrow for Vanderbilt and really for both teams. I mean, both these teams are fighting for, hosting chances. And, I mean, it was competitive today. You could tell Mississippi State came out with an energy and a fire today that it was, I don't know, Vanderbilt kind of, not saying Vanderbilt didn't, because I think they battled and they fought their way back, but Mississippi State I thought was just a little bit better today, whether it was on the mound, offensively. We'll get more into today and what happened today, but last night, going back, we didn't get a chance to talk last night. I know you were there, but 4-0 win for Vanderbilt. Honestly, it was business as usual, and we talked today in the booth about it, and you kind of brought up the fact that would this have worked maybe anywhere else? Would this have worked at Mississippi State's park, where it maybe plays a little bit smaller, at a Tennessee, at a Georgia? Maybe it doesn't, but that's not the point. The point is that he had a great performance. First career complete game shutout here at Vanderbilt. Carter Holton hasn't even done that yet this year at least, and maybe I just gave him way to do that next weekend maybe, but I just think it was really impressive, and they weren't able to carry it over into today. But Joey, I thought that they had to have Game 1, and they got it, and so I think that was just a good starting point for the weekend.
Yeah, and they've also got to have Game 3, and that's what today emphasized for me the most. I think a sweep would have put them in a great spot heading into next weekend, where I think it's going to be really difficult heading into Tennessee, where that's going to be more difficult than next weekend against Georgia. But I think tomorrow they can kind of salvage this weekend and put themselves in the spot to maybe be in the mix if they have a couple good weekends, or at least get one in each of those weekends and have a good weekend in Kentucky. But I think it's really, really important that they win tomorrow, just for their hosting hopes. You said they were one of the first 2 seeds in D1 baseball's kind of bracket projected right now. I think it's probably about fair, and if they don't win the series tomorrow, I think their hopes of hosting a regional probably not great.
Yeah, no, they're not. And then today, obviously, Vanderbilt just didn't do enough offensively, and that's kind of the story for me. Carter Holton pitched well. I know he gave up 5 runs, but 3 of those runs were from the 3-run shot from Hunter Hines, who just had a career day. And when a kid has a day like that, 3 for 4, 5 RBIs, and a 3-run homer, it's tough to beat the other team. Now, I know Espinal had a 3-run homer, but he didn't have the other kind of at-bats that Hunter Hines did. So Hines really, they have these games, Vanderbilt does, where they have let one guy beat them. Last Sunday, Tyler Shelnut had 5 RBIs, and Vanderbilt can't bounce back from that. And so there's a margin for error offensively with this team. And when they're not holding up their end of the bargain, they're not usually not going to beat quality SEC teams, and that's a quality Mississippi State team. I've been impressed with them really starting last night. I thought they played well. Just ran into a really good Cunningham pitcher on the wrong night, but tonight they showed what they're capable of offensively. But yeah, Joe, you talk about the hosting chances. I think Vanderbilt is still, tomorrow is so important, but tomorrow is important because yesterday was, and they won yesterday. So they keep hanging in there. And I think they know, obviously, how important tomorrow is. If they win tomorrow, we're saying this team is in position. They're in position to make a final push to host a regional. If they lose tomorrow, you're saying something really special is going to have to happen down the stretch, because you're playing Georgia, Tennessee, and Kentucky, 2 of those on the road. So tomorrow's huge. There's really no other way to say it. And it's going to be tough. Mississippi State is going with Jerangelo Saintia, I think is how you pronounce it, an ambidextrous pitcher. His agent's been here, is actually CC Sabathia's wife, yes, I think so. was the explanation we got. So CC Sabathia has been here all weekend. He's a really good arm. He's usually been going on Saturdays for Mississippi State. They pushed him back to Sunday this weekend, and it might end up paying off for Mississippi State. So credit to Lamonis and those guys. But tomorrow is just huge, and they're a 2 seed right now. I think if they win tomorrow, they're probably in the projections under D1 baseball as a hosting, as a top, maybe the 16th team. But hosting matters. It really does. And so, especially with this team with their road struggles. Yeah.
Look at last night. Cunningham was excellent, but only had 4 strikeouts. A lot of the outs he got were in the air, and a lot of those balls that were in the air were balls that were a little uncomfortable, and I think would have got out at a Lindsey Nelson Stadium or maybe in some other parks that play more towards the hitter, more favorably towards the hitter. Cunningham, though, I think we gotta talk more about. He was excellent last night. I think he had really everything working, and I think he really attacked. That was what he really wanted to talk to us about post game. It's just that he thought he was coming out with the mindset of attacking, and at times it's felt like his pitch ability really hasn't been there. Maybe the mindset hasn't been there. Maybe he's not playing as well off of his other pitches as he did last night. But tonight, last night, I think he had really everything working and really showed you that he can be a top of the line guy for you. Now, can he do it in a more hitter-friendly park? I don't know. I think Kentucky is going to be one that suits him. Tennessee series, you'd expect him to be able to have a good outing when they need it the most. But we'll see in Georgia next weekend. I think Cunningham, though, really has stepped up since the Texas A&M series. The last 2 starts, he gave up 3 runs against Florida, but I think was probably better than that indicated. And then yesterday, probably the best start of his career, and I think he said as much. So Cunningham, really a guy who stepped up for them. Obviously, we'll have a few bad starts here or there, and we'll make you question some things about whether he should be in the Friday night role, but really, really nice outing last night that confirms a lot of what we thought. And really, there's a reason that he's the highest ranked guy in the MLB pipeline for Vanderbilt. There's a lot of potential there, and I think they're starting to maximize it a little bit.
Yeah, there's 4 pitches that he can use to strike people out. I think his changeup obviously was really impressive last night, but for this team, Joey, we've talked about the offense, but the bullpen, I think, has to improve as well, and they're banged up right now. I mean, no McIlvain, no J.D. Thompson really to go to. I don't think
They got to get more from Grayson Carter, too.
Yeah, you got to get more from Grayson Carter. Carter struggled tonight, got roughed up a little bit, gave up a couple of runs there late. Didn't matter, of course, but, I think you need to see Carter with a couple of good outings to give you some confidence heading into the postseason, because let's face it, wasn't tremendous as a starter, hasn't been great as a bullpen guy. Carter's a piece they have to have perform well. But at the end of the day, you've got a guy like a Cyber as a freshman coming in that, I thought this was a good question for you. Can you rely on him? And he said, yeah, we've been relying on him all season. But I thought it was a good question because is that just a guy you've had to throw out there? I think he's got 14 appearances. So I thought that was a confident answer from Corbin. Saying, yeah, he's been our guy. I mean, he's been the first guy out of the pen. So the Cyber pitched phenomenal. And I just think tomorrow's gonna be tough. I mean, it's gonna have to be, I don't want to say bullpen game, but my gut tells me we're gonna get Devin Futrell. He was starting pitches. Usually that's the case. And maybe he's an opener where you stick him in there, and if he's pitching really well, you keep him in. But I think at a moment's notice, you're gonna have to, say he gives up a 3-run shot. You're gonna have to be ready, have those guys ready in the pen. Ginther didn't throw today. I would expect to see him tomorrow. And then at that point, Joe, you're starting to look at it, maybe a David Horn. I mean, who knows? Like, honestly, who knows?
No McIlvain.
Yeah, no McIlvain.
Cyber might not be available.
Yeah, everything that happened last Sunday could really come back to bite them tomorrow. I'm not saying it will, but without McIlvain and J.D. Thompson, I mean, last week you were hoping to go J.D. Thompson as much as you could, and then McIlvain maybe to even close it out, and you weren't even really. Now you can't use either of them tomorrow. So we'll see. I'll be really impressed if this team wins tomorrow, and I'm not trying to downgrade them at all, but just the situation. I mean, they're going against one of the better pitchers in the conference. I mean, statistically, and they're going with a guy in Futrell who hasn't pitched a ton in the last couple weeks. So we'll see. I mean, I don't think they, this isn't something this team hasn't done this season. I mean, they're at home. They've won, I don't know how many consecutive SEC series at home, and they got a chance to do it, but it's going to be tough.
Yeah, it's a risk, Billy, and I think their offense in particular has to answer the call. They didn't answer the call today. I think last night, even to an extent, they left too many guys on, but it didn't really matter because of what Cunningham did. And that's the blueprint for this team once in a while, but it can't consistently be. Tomorrow, the offense has got to show up. It feels like they don't have the pitching to really shut this team down. They're not a team that gets shut down very often. They average 7 runs a game heading into the series, so it's going to be a really interesting day tomorrow for this team, and I think about as important of one as they've had. And Georgia, Tennessee, going to be really tough, and even tougher if your back's against the wall heading into them.
We're going to get a taste of what this team can do in the postseason because it's going to feel like a postseason game tomorrow.
What are they made of, Billy?
Yeah, it's do or die for this team. It's crunch time. I think Chris said in our latest podcast this week, it's crunch time for this team. And we think this team is capable of hosting a regional. I mean, we both were talking about that. It's going to be hard to do that, but we think they can. I mean, I think most people believe this is a good team, but you got to go out there and play like it and prove it. So tomorrow's a big day for this team, this program. I think to just kind of stay on top and stay above water, because if you lose tomorrow, all of a sudden, you go into Georgia, maybe things snowball, and you bring Tennessee in here in a couple weeks, and then at Kentucky. I think you just need tomorrow psychologically more than anything, honestly.
I think we find out tomorrow who their alpha is, Billy, offensively, and if they have one. Like, who steps up tomorrow when they need it the most. RJ Austin has really been in the slump recently. Came into the series hitting 161. Let me see if I can find what else. Hitting 161, slugging percentage of 419, OPS of 631 heading into the series over the last 14 days. That can't be one of your best players. He was better today. Bad last night, but better today. I think his defense has improved, but he's got to bring it tomorrow. Jonathan Bastine, I think, has been really good. He's got to bring it, though. Matthew Polk, guy who's led them in just about every statistical category in the last 14 days. Does he step up and show that he's a veteran and play like it when it matters most? I think it's a really big day for them, to not only for their resume, but just, do we find out who's their guy offensively? Do we find out what they're made of offensively? Do we find out they have a bullpen arm in there? I think tomorrow could be a big day if David Horn comes in. I think we've always thought he's more capable than what he's shown this year. Is tomorrow the day that we find that out? Do they have a guy step up who maybe hasn't previously? Is Cam Kogel the guy who maybe after being reinserted in the lineup today plays again tomorrow and does something? I don't know, but somebody's got to step up. Something's got to give here, Billy.
Yeah, and he's got Miller Green too. I forgot to mention Miller Green. We haven't seen him all weekend. Is it a day where you see Futrell to Ginther to Green? That's some sort of combination. It's a lot of lefties. State has seen lefties pretty well this weekend.
Yeah, especially Carter Holt.
Yeah, so it'll be tense. But again, maybe we're talking here tomorrow in a complete game shutout for Futrell. I mean,
I don't even know
knows?
if he's capable of throwing that
Is he
many pitches
even,
right now.
But that's the thing. You never know with this team. You never know with baseball. So in this series right now, Vanderbilt leads 8-7. So so it's been pretty even. It's not like Vanderbilt, has pitched poorly, and it's not like Mississippi State has hit the cover off the baseball. So it's pretty even so far, and I just think the key is getting to St. John and getting to their pen, because their pen is probably looking a little bleak too. Even though Schulke is a guy that pitches basically every game for them.
Yeah, I mean, Corbin was talking about it today, and he was talking about how much better their at-bats were out of the bullpen versus against the starter, and he was talking about how he didn't think they put together good at-bats at all against the starter. Again, I just don't think they answered the call offensively today, and it's got to change tomorrow.
Yeah, it's got to change, and it's not like they erupted yesterday either. I mean, 4 runs, but he got a great performance, and that was enough. They didn't do enough today. They're going to have to do enough tomorrow, or else this team is looking at a bleak scenario and a lot harder situation to fight back into the regional situation. But yeah, it is at 1 o'clock tomorrow. First pitch was at 2 today. So the weather was great, by the way. So encourage anybody to come on out. Should be a competitive game and end of the series with the rubber match tomorrow. Joey, it'll be fun. I know we'll both be here. You'll be here kind of at the end, and you'll have the gamer tomorrow. But should be fun. Vanderbilt, Mississippi State, Game 3 rubber match tomorrow at 1 o'clock. Joey, appreciate it. Any last words?
Want to shout out Alan Espinal too. He had
unbelievable
homer tonight.
There was
Chris yesterday.
Chris would probably dispute this, but I think that was the furthest home run I've ever seen, at least over that monster. Like, because it rattled around Memorial.
Right.
I don't know if Byington was in there, but
yeah. Hey, we'll see. Hopefully he's on the road recruiting.
Yeah.
But Espinal hit one to center yesterday that hit the Mississippi State bus, and that was one of the longest homers I'd seen here. And then I think he got more of a hold of one today, 469. Would kill to know what that exit velo was. Yesterday it was 109, so we think it'd probably be even more today. But he's really answered the call as an individual. Obviously, he's had some tough at-bats with runners in scoring position, but I think you can't complain about what you got from him this series. Fast time wasn't as good today, but has been better. But it's all gonna come to a breaking point in some way tomorrow, and the next few weekends will be big for them as well. I don't want to overstate tomorrow, but I think it's super important for them.
yeah, I mean, it's huge. And we're saying that because SEC slate so far for Vanderbilt has been on the lighter side of things. Auburn, Missouri, South Carolina's not bad, but you're getting into the meat of your schedule, and in that East Division, it's do or die time for Vanderbilt. So 1 o'clock tomorrow. Again, Murfreesboro Pure Milk Company bringing us our baseball content all season long. mpmci.com is where you can visit them online. That's mpmci.com. That's Joey. I'm Billy. Thanks for tuning in. Big one tomorrow. Vanderbilt and Mississippi State at 1 o'clock. But you've been watching another BandySports.com podcast.